What up, Blockchain Nation? Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. So I just want to briefly give a recap or talk about my entrepreneurial experience. Now, I think in each and every one of us, I would like to assume that everybody would like to own or start their own business. Also, people might argue that not everyone should own a business, but in my definition of owning a business or starting a business, I think in my personal opinion, you can run your own business in one of four ways. One, you can start a business from scratch, which is what most people are used to when they think about the idea of starting a business. And a lot of us are not that innovative to come up with a unique idea, and so we just shut it down. But I think that's just one way to start a business. Second way, in my personal opinion, is to partner with an existing business or somebody who already has the know-it-all, or somebody. You might not be the one to initiate the idea or come up with the idea, but you can partner with somebody who you can provide, when I mean partner, you can provide funding, you can provide intellectual sweat equity in terms of your contribution to the business. Third way is maybe through a franchise, and the last way through, I guess, network marketing, if that's your thing. Anyways, I want to talk about my own entrepreneurial experience. So both my parents were entrepreneurs. I've always loved the idea of starting a business. I've always been, for as far back as I can remember, wanting to start my own business. I'm sure, like so many people out there, it's always been something that's been dear to my heart. Anyways, here's my lessons from my own quote-unquote startup experience. So I'll let you judge, and you can decide whether it really was a startup or not. Maybe it really wasn't. But anyways, I was in college, and it was my final year in college, and I had this unique idea. It was a very, very long time ago, and I noticed that a lot of my people that I was graduating college with were very anxious about finding a job. Now, this was back in Nigeria. I was born and raised in Nigeria, lived there my entire life, and well, most of my adult life. And I remember graduating from college, and everybody was anxious about getting the job. And so I had this unique idea. I was going to walk up to every single one of everybody I knew in my graduating class and say, hey, for just, I don't know, $50 or $10 a year, or a $10 flat fee, I would help you to prepare your CV, your resume, put it on my website, and showcase that portal to potential employers, and maybe you'll be able to get a job. I can't guarantee you get a job, but at least it will be exposed to a huge pool of potential employers, and you could probably secure a job. I think I called it Jobberman. I can't remember what I called it. That was the name of it. Now, there were just two problems. One was I did not know how to code, and two, I did not know how to code, but it was an interesting idea. And I went to meet, pretty much a lot of people in my graduating class, and people loved the idea. And so I remember struggling, trying to figure out how I was going to build it. I had two people I shared the idea with, and were very passionate about it. Cut a long story short, in my frustrations of trying to figure out how to code it, or how to build it up, or find a developer, or somebody who was a developer, we went back and forth, and we just said to ourselves, this is probably a dumb idea. Who on earth will want to build an application where you can expose resumes? We're looking back at stuff like LinkedIn. I don't think it was a dumb idea after all, you know. I know you might say, yeah. There are people who argue and say, yeah, you probably come up with, I think ideas, in my opinion, are like oxygen. They're everywhere. So even when, I think it's happened, I'm sure it's happened to you too, where you probably thought about doing something and somebody else did it. Anyways, that was the first one. My first quote-unquote startup experience, which wasn't really a startup because nothing started. It was a start, nothing. Anyway, second was an artificial intelligence prediction model. I've talked about this before or in a subsequent video, where my final year thesis was to build an AI application that could predict engine failure on a Boeing 737. Now, once again, I couldn't code. I wanted to go into software engineering, so I picked a project that was related to software engineering. Now, conceptually, I had the idea. Conceptually, I built out the neural network models. Conceptually, I picked a supervised learning AI algorithm. Everything looked good. Everything looked great. We had the training data to train the application. And along the way, I said to myself, once again, that's, what's the word I'm looking for? That uncertainty that all this energy and time I'm spending to this stuff is really going to manifest to anything big. And I said to myself, probably not. And so once again, I quit. Fast forward years later, a company in the US doing exactly the same thing. Now, hear me when I say this. It was what I call a start nothing. Supposed to be a startup, had a great idea, but doubted myself, just like a lot of us have doubted ourselves, and said, nah, this means nothing, I'm not going to pursue this. And at the end of the day, it turned out to be something very interesting, but I never pursued it, somebody else did. Lastly was something very, very dear to my heart. I remember, and this is something that I actually spent a lot of time and money on. It was living in Nigeria, and this was years before. We had Amazon in the US, but we didn't have it. There was nothing like Amazon or a shopping portal in sub-Saharan Africa, especially in Nigeria where I live. And so I had this idea to create an online shopping portal where people could just buy stuff online and have it delivered to their homes. Now, this is revolutionary in Africa, in Nigeria specifically, years ago. It was no one was doing that. So I said, hey, why don't we come up with this, put a team together. We worked very, very hard on it. Didn't get very, very far, and we quit. And we figured, same excuse, nobody in the world is going to do this. Nigeria is not ready for this. Fast forward so many years later, there is a huge, huge company called, I forget what they're called. Maybe I'll put a link below. And they're doing exactly the same thing. So what's my point in all this? Here's what I realized. Here's my takeaways from my startup, quote-unquote, experience. One is that ideas are not everything. Ideas are like oxygen. They're everywhere. They're like radio waves. So many people come up with stuff and like, hey, I thought about building, I don't know what it is. I know I met somebody up, you meet them all the time. I say, oh yes, I was going to build the next Facebook and I didn't build it. So my point is, it's not about the idea. Execution is what is important. In my opinion, that's what separates the Mark Zuckerbergs, the Elon Musks from the rest of the world, because those guys know how to execute. People like me that just got stuck in analysis paralysis and eventually quit. I think one big lesson from that experience was ideas are not everything. Execution is what is important. That's the first thing I learned. Second thing is, don't be afraid to start. In some cases, in all the examples that I gave, we did so much research and market research and research upon research, and we started nothing. We didn't start it up. We just started. We didn't do anything because of analysis paralysis, and we're just so afraid to start, afraid to fail, afraid of what people will say. So don't be afraid to start, in my opinion. Third is, don't let anything stop you. Let the obstacle become the way. One huge hurdle I had in all these startups was I didn't know how to code. I didn't know how to build applications. So I guess that's kind of what pushed me years down the line to eventually learn how to become a software developer, because of all these wonderful ideas that I had, and like you've had, that just couldn't be implemented because I was at the mercies of somebody else who, quote unquote, knew how to build the application, and I was just the guy who didn't know anything, you know. So don't let anything stop you. Let the obstacle be the way. Fourth, is that whatever idea you have, is that even if somebody else has come up with something similar, you can add your own unique twist. Apple is a great example, in my opinion. Apple hasn't really done anything arguably unique. They took the MP3 player, they made it better. They took cell phones, they made it better. They took the personal computer, they made it better. And so so I think, in my opinion, even if somebody else has, quote unquote, come up with the same idea, there's something unique that you can add to it. So come up with your own unique twist. And lastly, what I've learned in my Start Nothing is it's all about the team. It's all about the team. If you find the right people, you can do phenomenal stuff. So for me, in all this just pushed me to want to learn how to be a software developer, because I was just tired of trying to come up with all these ideas, trying to implement, and they didn't go anywhere. So that was my motivation to learn how to code so that I can build applications. And now I have something I'm working on, a project which I'm very, very excited about. I've learned from all of my Start Nothings, and this really is a startup. And we're launching sometime this year. You're going to hear all about it. It's very, very exciting stuff. I'm so excited about it, I can't even contain myself. But I'm going to announce it on this channel sometime very soon, and it's a great idea. So I've learned that ideas are not everything. Execution is what is important. I've learned not to be afraid to start. I've learned that let nothing should stop me or stop you. Whenever you have an idea, let the obstacle become the way. we've learned that even in the industry that where we're currently in, trying to build, trying to enter this market, there are other players in the market, but trying to add our own unique twist. And it's all about the team, because I think we have a great team that's doing that. So I just thought I'd share that, my start nothing. So the lesson for us, when I talk on YouTube, I talk to myself before I talk to anybody, is I believe that having a side hustle is good. There's so much to learn about being a side hustle. You can love what you do. I love what I do, but not during working hours. Obviously on the weekends, I try to dabble and try to build little applications, just like what I'm talking about, that's going to be launched very, very soon. And I think it's something that everyone should pursue, in my opinion. So even if you don't come up with a unique idea, which I even sometimes struggle with coming up with a unique idea sometimes. I think it's been a while since I've come up with something unique, like all these other ideas I had a long time ago. But I also think you can partner with somebody who has an idea, and you can also add value. Your equity, your sweat equity, on depends on the relationship. Obviously, you have to put down your own funds into that business. And now I'm just rambling. Anyways, you get the idea. So let me know what you have in mind. Let's see what ideas you have. I know people are going to comment below and say, yes, I thought about building up something like Wix.com. I want to hear your stories as well. So yeah, that's all I have. Until next time, I wish for you is that you learn how to code, because coding is changing and will change the world, especially this blockchain, this real legit technology space. And it's my personal opinion, those who get involved early will greatly impact the future. And if that's you, let's go change the world.